You just start right here and then pylon, warriors, war bonnet.
This is the route. The surf route.
I think for me, climbing with women at times, when it's just the two of you, it can be just that much more rewarding.
Some of my female climbing partnerships, the friendship has run far deeper than it has just with like the men that I go out and climb with. When I go out with a female climbing partner, it's about the hike in, it's about catching up, it's about like hearing everything that's new in her life. Then we climb, and hopefully that goes well. And then the hike out is, you know, a continuation of the conversation from earlier in the day.
We're learning, I think. We're new partners.
We actually met through my partner of 4 years who passed on in an avalanche. So that was the first time we met was...
At the gathering.
Yeah.
So coming into the winds for the second time with Julia, going up and climbing some climbs that have some exciting elements and a lot of history for Julia and a lot of newness for me. It's been sort of figuring out communication and going to a deeper level on trying to understand how we function as climbers and as friends. And we were so new together that this project has forced us into a situation where we had to really figure things out.
Great, I'm on. Okay. Through the years, I've learned that the mountains can take everything in an instant. Through an injury to me, and even death to the one I loved most at that time. Even so, I've returned. It's in the mountains, and particularly with climbing, that I've learned the most about myself.
In climbing and in the alpine environment, there's an incredible richness of experience that comes from being remote, self-sufficient, and occasionally scared.
Well, it's a tall mountain, but well worth the climb. Yeah, well worth the climb.
Climbing is the sport that has given me my greatest understanding of my capabilities.
It's when I feel most free, most focused, and most aware of how my perceptions of my limitations are just that, a perception and not my reality.
You cannot cheat climbing. You either did it or you didn't.
In my life,
Hopefully we'll get to the top of this thing in a few hours, and then we'll map out the rest of the trip.
till that day, you just
Hi. That was really fun. That's a nice crack climb.
I seem to thrive when I'm with really encouraging, strong women that are better climbers than me. There's some women in Jackson that I've climbed with in the last couple years that have made me, I climb like a grade harder on lead. But in male-dominated arenas, if you're a young woman, you just cannot be intimidated by seeing a group of men out on the wall, because more and more there's groups of women getting out there.
It's a sport where I think men and women can be on very equal footing. I mean, you look at the history of climbing, you look at Lynn Hill. She was the first person to free the nose on El Capitan. That climb was not repeated for a really long time, and everyone said, oh, it's because she was so little and she had these tiny little fingers, so she had an advantage. And then sure enough, when the climb finally was repeated, it was actually suggested that it was even harder for her because she was little and she had tiny fingers.
It goes, boys.
That's perfect.
Copy that. I'm breaking down the anchor, and then I'll be climbing. Climbing! One sec, Julia. delicate.
Yeah.
I mean, Julia and I, after this trip, this has been a turning point for me. So it's been incredible to come out and share this experience with her. God, I'm so sappy right now.
It's awesome.
Starting to cry at everything.
I love it. I love it. It's true though.
My greatest influences all climb. I admire alpine climbers and mountaineers for their stoic, calm natures and lack of hubris, and their ability to suffer with grace.
Climbing allows me to constantly challenge my limitations and learn that my capabilities far exceed what I perceive them to be. I never question how I feel about the mountains. Despite the pain they have caused in my life, I still love them and love what I feel when I am in them. To me, that is the ultimate gift of the mountains and of climbing. It is why I have to keep coming back.
I share that little bit of hope.
You are a terrible person!
That was quite something. Holy shit.
Oh, damn it, Kim.
That was...